Hello there. Let's see, I want to make sure that this is actually on. Hope you can hear this. Let's see the signs of life. Hello there. Let me see if I can hear some audio. This is the first time I use this, like so many others, so I don't know how it goes, but can you hear this?
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Hi. Well, I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am, but my name is Eduardo. I'm a musician, and I got called by Michael to do this, so my deal here is that I'm going to just do a little bit of my process when I improvise, when I perform. So I'm just going to share a little bit of my process of how I do it, and maybe get a little philosophical on how I relate what's going on with the virus, you know, without talking too much about that, because that's everything everybody talks about. But since I'm talking about improvisation, here's my take on all this. I have an approach where obviously, you know, I called it the ImproviZen with a Z on purpose, obviously, because I try to always bypass the thinking process so that you can then play a little more freely. But the thing is that with the freedom comes a little bit of responsibility, like everything, right? And the whole thing about improvising is getting yourself into a situation where you need to find new ways or new resources to get somewhere, okay, musically speaking. Well, pretty much like with life, you know, and what was going on. It's a question of making like split-second decisions sometimes on the go, with just letting your gut instinct guide you a little bit. What I want to show is just a little bit of taking a few songs that I normally play. And I have a roadmap. If you see me looking over there, is because I'm not going to talk about improvising with a script, but I did make an outline, and my outline is just like a little roadmap that I use just as a marker, but I really don't know what I'm going to do next, literally. So let's get in a move on. Here's my roadmap, and what I have is basically my 3 rules that I have for when I improvise. this, okay? And it's basically, for me, there are three areas. One is a safe area, another one is a risky area, and then the third one, well, that one is more like the freedom area or the total freedom area, right? So if I pick a song and I do something safe, let's say, let's see, what can we do that's safe? Well, you can't see my whole layout here, but I'm gonna do just a verse and a chorus of one song, and I'll improvise over it, but I'm gonna just basically stick to the melody before I stray off anywhere on this one. And that'll be sort of like a safe area. It's familiar, and maybe I'll throw in a few notes that are out of the normal melody, but it's still very close to what the normal melody would be. All right, so let's see, what are we gonna lay down first? Let's do the, I have a looper, and it's all live, nothing pre-recorded. So here we go. So that wasn't it. So we got normal stuff going on, you know. Then there's the guitar part. Here you go again, you say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? It's only right to let you feel the way you feel it. But listen carefully to the sound. Well, there's most things. So that's mostly sticking to the script of that melody thing. But if you take other songs, like a lot of blues and jazz songs, I'm going to show you safe, going into a little risky. So that'll be the second way that I do things. And let's see, there's let's try this song. This is you'll know it. It's a standard, but I love it. I only do stuff I like. So here's a little riskier improvisation. Just a little verse, right? Well, it's only a paper moon, red over cotton sea, but wouldn't be make believe it, believe in me. Without your love, well, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade. Well, you go away from the main melody there a little bit. That's, of course, Paper Moon. And so there's an example of risky. Now, thing with this is, with what's going on, and the reason I called it, something analog to this whole situation that we're all going through. Improvising is so important, and if you take improvising into life, well, of course, you're going to love whatever philosophy you follow, the Tao, the Buddhist, the Christian, whatever it is. But basically, they all relate to a place of peace, and not throughout history, but in essence, that's the idea. And also the meditative part, where you just shut down, your brain and try to operate on another level. So, and with the music, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that it's a little more instant. You don't have much time to think about it. And so you sort of have to slow down time a little bit when you're playing or singing, and find that space where you can react to what your last move was and move on into the next thing, wherever you want to go. And that's the thing with the roadmap. You, very much like in life, you start the day with a roadmap and you say, well, okay, I'm going to get this done today. First, I'm going to go to the market, then I'm going to go take the kids, and then I'm going to go do this, the bank, the whatever. And the day goes by, and you end up looking back at it, and you figured, oh, well, okay, I knew what I wanted to get done, but it's never the way you plan it, to a smaller or bigger degree, either way. And when you improvise in a song, it's a lot like that. You go out, you step out into the day, or you step out into the song, and then you don't really know how you're going to end it if you're into improvising. And you just go with the flow a little bit. You have to let yourself go. And so it's a mix of controlling and letting go all the time. And it's like riding a horse. It's like walking, like running, like sports, like anything, right? So you're going into the unknown a little bit when you improvise, and you go beyond the regular stuff that's in a song normally. And obviously, we're all so attached to the familiar and attached to the way that we normally do it. We feel safe, we feel contained and whatnot, but we don't go anywhere else. We just go around in the same circle that we always go. Now, I think that one of the great things about the next day is that you can, for example, get up and do your morning ritual and maybe change a little something, go out the other door, open up the other window, whatever it is, walk backwards into the bathroom. Just a little something to make it different. And then that sort of gets you into the mood and into the mind frame of improvising a little bit in life and doing things in a different order, for the same reason, the same purpose, the same goals and everything, but just a little different. And normally what happens is, in my case, I surprise myself. And I figured, well, if I can stretch it that little bit, then next time I can go even a little further. And then you start pushing the barriers out, and also pushing out the frontiers, you know, whatever they are. So it's such a fun game. And if I incorporate that into my life, into my everyday life, you know, and it's just literally an incredible way to live every day. You know, even if you do the same routines, if you just do a little bit, something a little different, it just gives the whole scenery a new color and a new way to perceive things and to relate to the rest of the world. And everybody else sees that too. So, you know, it goes into a whole lot of deep stuff that we're not going to have time for today, but you probably understand clearly what I'm talking about. So the third one, which is our freestyle thing. So we got a few more minutes. It's sort of like when you dive into the creative abyss and you figure out as you go where you're going, what the next turn is going to be. But I call it where fear and faith sort of come face to face and come together in that abyss. And then they walk hand by hand. So the more I do the fearless thing, and I go into it not blindly, but just with the mentality that it's going to get me there somehow. And you don't know how. So it's a little bit like jumping out of a plane, with or without a parachute. I'd rather do it with a parachute. So yes, you go into this free space and you go at it aggressively, or to conquer yourself, or to stretch yourself, or whatever. But the good thing is, with life, with years, and with experience, you keep throwing these tools into your box. And you need tools. You need tools to work with when you improvise, like you do in life. You know, you don't know which tool you're going to need until you break the wall and the plumbing's out and the water's running. And it's okay. I think I'm going to need a bigger wrench. And you might have it or you might not. And then that goes into your inventive and you know, how you create something, whether you got the tools or not. And that's also how you start getting new tools into that toolbox. So improvising is, in my book, and my idea of it is, you go out, you walk into a song or a jungle or a field.
Well, I mean, I think there's a few different layers. Number one, I would like to say that, you know, just because something's in 11/4 versus 4/4 doesn't mean the value judgment of good or more complicated. I mean, there's plenty of Indian music, for example, that is just one key, you know, like to a drone, for example, and that wouldn't make it less good or less ability to have your mind. I mean, the ability for one to focus their mind on anything is up to that person. You know, you can choose to focus on a singing bowl on a single note and do that for, you know, days if you wanted to, or a gong, which is, or even, yeah. Anyway, so I think there's a lot of different kinds of music, and there's a lot of different things that turn people on with music, and that is a purely subjective experience based on myriad factors. But
I think more of the complexity, like the complexity of the piece allows it so that there isn't room for me to process so much what is going on. Like, for instance, I spend a lot of time talking with people, and I know that a lot of the time as I'm talking, I don't necessarily know what it is I'm going to say. I'm in the process of discovering it as it's happening. And because of that, I know if I stop to try to think about what I'm going to say, I mess the whole process up, because I, like you said,
like
you did it. Yeah. Just.
Oh, yeah. You're breaking up.
All right. Yeah, I heard that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right? Well, either way, all of that is obviously perfectly valid too. I don't know if it's related to what we're talking about over here or not, but it sounds like it is. And so anyway, there's so many ways to skin a cat, but it's true, you know. I mean, we all have something that makes our approach or our experience in life so unique to anybody else. And that's, I think, part of the great beauty of everything around us. So let me see if I can jump back into this that I was talking about, and which is pushing frontiers, and, you know, kind of like having to disconnect from the usual and reconnect without losing, obviously, your essence and your connection with your basic stuff. You want to expand, but not lose your core, because you always take that core with you, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. So as an example of that, I'm going to do one tune. And what I'm going to do is I'm really going to go all out there and do it like I've never done it before. It's just 2 chords, but it's a song titled, it's an old blues song titled Everything is Going to Be Funky From Now On. And I have little drums, I have shakers, and a little bit of everything here. So I'll build up a little rhythm track and say goodbye with this one. And then I'm just gonna solo with the guitar till we're done. And just one last thing. This is like going in country, into the jungle, and you know what to expect. You know what elements are going to be there. You just don't know in what order they're going to be thrown at you, or in what order you're going to encounter what. Could be rainy, could be sunny, could be it could be in incredible heat. It could be animals could be going crazy. It could be anything. But there's always a way around it, and there's always a way through. And you can walk the same jungle 100 times and come out the other end and have 100 different stories from that same jungle that you cross. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. My name is Eduardo. I'm born in Arlington and raised in Puerto Rico. And I'm touring the States now, basically the East Coast. Well, we'll get back to it as soon as this is over or normalized. And thank you so much for listening. And you can find me, Google me up, and you can find me easily. And I hope you enjoyed this little capsule of improvisation. All right? And thank you so much for listening. And this is Everything's Going to Get Funky from now on. that's the basic for that one. I press the wrong pedal, so when like it's these funky things. See, there's an example. Now, if I go back, we can just do. Well, I don't know, but I've been told do what you wanna do. Stick around and little honey, do the best you can do. 'Cause everything is gonna get funky from now on. Everything's gonna get a little funky from now on. These are rockers. Gonna get funky. Everything I do is gonna get funky from now on. Well then, thank you very much for hanging out this little while, and have a wonderful, blessed evening, and we'll see you around sometime.